What's up, guys? So it's been about a year since we've had the S22 Ultra here, and I wanted to go over the phone, just my experience having this phone, comparing it to a bunch of other phones. And yeah, so I've been having a really good experience with this phone, but I was really more interested in how this phone is going to do in the used refurbished marketplace, since the S23 Ultra is right around the corner. And you can see it's typically trending still for around $800 to maybe $700 for a used refurbished model. And you can on Amazon trade it in, so you can get up to 400 back depending on the type of phone. So you can do a good trade in. So I think now's a good time to buy this phone. I can see the price coming down solid to around $700 by middle of this year or something like that. So I think if you're thinking about buying or trading in your phone for this, I think that it's a pretty good deal for the most part, especially if you were not impressed with the S23 Ultra. I know the trade-in deals were pretty trash. The pre-order deals were pretty trash for the S23 Ultra. So I can see why it's the S23 Ultra and the S22 Ultra. If you want to be honest, it's not a massive jump. I do have the phone coming for you guys just compared to all my older phones, just in case you do want to upgrade, but just know it's not really like a crazy leap, right? But yeah, so let's go ahead and just dive into this phone. Performance wise, so when I first got this phone, it was a little, oh yeah, let me talk about the wallpapers, and somebody's gonna ask. It's Live Loop. I'm gonna do a video about this app, and I have another app for live wallpapers. It's a pretty good wallpaper app. I'm actually really impressed with it. It just high quality wallpapers, live wallpapers and stuff like that. So definitely check that out on the Play Store. Alright, so basically this phone, when it came out, it was a little bit jerky with that beginning, just like all phones when they first come out. But this One UI 5 update has really fixed a lot of the animations and stuff like that. It's super buttery smooth. I don't really have the animation stutters like I used to. It's a very fast and fluid phone like you would expect for this price point. It's just really fast. So I was really happy with that. The One UI 5 update also, guys, helped a lot with battery life. This phone, and more specifically standby time, so this phone would struggle. I would notice it just dies kind of fast with standby time. Now the screen on time hasn't really changed too much. The screen on time is a little bit better, but not dramatically better with the One UI 5 update. But yeah, it definitely does a little bit better with standby time. I noticed if you just let the device sit, before that it would just kind of die quicker than I would expect it to. But battery life is definitely better with these software updates, so I'm really happy about that. Also, the screen on the S22 Ultra is still one of my favorite screens to date after testing out some of the the best phones. I think they make some of the best screens. The only screen that I like more than this phone is the not the S, but the OnePlus 7 Pro. It has an all-time, just because there's no punch hole, it pops up with the camera. It's just really cool. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of these boxy screens. If it were up to me, I do prefer like the Galaxy S21 Ultra screen. I think that's like a perfect screen as far as like easy to hold. But the whole boxy look is really nice. I'm a big fan of like the curved edges. A lot of people don't like them. I think it makes a phone look a little bit more premium to me, but a lot of people don't like the curved edges. But I do really like it, and the brightness on the screen is still crazy bright as well too. Like I said, high resolution screen, 1440p resolution, 6.8 inches dynamic AMOLED, it's 120 hertz display on here, and just beautiful to look at here. 500 for the PPI, so just a very high resolution display here for the most part. It's just really nice. I do want to talk about the body shape of this phone, and that's my biggest issue with these boxier type of phones here. So it's a bit more comfortable if you put a case on it. It's not as sharp and it doesn't cut into the hand that much if you put a case on it, but I prefer to put like a really thin case on it, simply because the phone is already kind of heavy, and it just makes it like just a bulky case just makes it feel too heavy, and I just don't like it. If I could not put a case on this, that would be nice, but like it's just like one of those things where the phone is heavy and it's super boxy. But it's a beautiful design. The design has grown on me. I was never a hater of this design. A lot of people, when it first came out, they were like, oh, this looks terrible in comparison to the S21 Ultra. I thought the design looked really good, simply because it actually looks a lot like the LG Velvet, and I was a big fan of that phone. and I think it looks still really good with the camera setup here. It just looks really clean, and I really do like it. So it is also IP68 dust and water resistant. It is also a, you know, glass and metal phone here, and you have the built-in stylus. So the built-in stylus is here, and I typically don't really use the stylus unless I'm like bored and I just like color something in, you know, just time goes by. But it's actually pretty good for like making a grocery list and stuff like that. So if you are like me and forget stuff at the store and stuff, you come in here and you make a grocery list, you know, scribble your stuff down, whatever you need to. Oh, you guys can't even see that. Hold on. But yeah, I like it for a grocery list, guys. But if you're a digital artist or whatever, you come in here, you can, the pen is so accurate where it's just like, it's really amazing. Just how accurate and smooth it feels. So you can actually do like some real digital artwork. I've seen it on YouTube. You guys can type that in and check it out. But it's really impressive what people are able to do with this. So I think the pen is awesome, especially for people who are creatives and stuff like that. But Samsung throws in a lot of cool features with the S Pen as well too. Like I said, I don't really use it that much unless I'm bored or unless I need like a grocery list thing. Alright guys, I want to talk about performance on here. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, it's a very fast chip. Obviously it's a flagship chip and it's going to do really good with performance. Again, like I've been saying all year, the phone gets way too warm when doing long periods of gaming. If you're just using a phone like regular, or if you start recording video, it starts to get kind of like hot a little bit. Now I don't know, you know, we'll find out next week if they solve this issue with the S23 Ultra. But yeah, that's one of my complaints about this phone. It's a little too hot. Samsung needs to work on the cooling. So far, you know, even with the updates, it's still kind of a warm phone. Now, I've never had this phone, you know, crash when playing games, or I've never had this phone like start, you know, glitching and dropping frames. It's never has gotten that bad, but definitely, it can definitely get a little bit warm. Now, most people are going to use a case, so they might not even notice. But yeah, that was one of the things I was concerned about, because if the phone gets hot, then it'll degrade the battery life over time, especially if you plan on keeping this phone for a long time, which I think a lot of people will, because this phone gets a crazy long lifespan, 4 years of major OS updates, and then it gets 5 years of security patches. People are going to keep this phone for a very long time because it's going to be supported for a very long time. So definitely that's something to keep an eye on. And yeah, one thing also that I did not like when this phone first came out, and I'm glad they got rid of it, was the 128 gig base model for a phone that is over $1,000, $1,200 to be exact, really $1,300 after taxes. That's not enough storage for people taking video, you know, playing games. It's just not enough storage. Samsung got rid of that, and now the base model is 256 gigs, 8 gigs of RAM. Even though I'm not crazy about the 8 gigs, I think that's really stupid too. It should be standard 12 gigs. But hey, right? You know, not enough people complain about it, so that's why Samsung was able to do that. I'm going to make sure I keep complaining about it. 8 gigs of RAM, unacceptable. Talk about one of the most disappointing things on this phone is definitely the speakers. Super flat, just flat. In comparison to Samsung's previous flagships, iPhone 14 Pro, the Pixel 7 Pro, these speakers suck. Now, with the S23 Ultra, I've heard that they've gotten much better, but this phone speakers suck. It just sounds flat, no bass, doesn't sound loud. I don't like them, right? They suck. Also, fingerprint scanner is very fast on here, so that's pretty sweet. I always really like that. And then you have face unlock as well too, which you could take advantage of. And then all your other little bells and whistles are actually on here as well. Samsung desktop support, wireless DeX is extremely slept on. Wireless power sharing, awesome. Secure folders. This phone gets, like I said, gets crazy bright outdoors. So a lot of your software features are really awesome on this phone. And I absolutely love it. I think Samsung desktop support is really, really cool, guys. I'm gonna make an updated video about that because I don't think a lot of people use it. All right, lastly is the cameras. So this phone still has one of the most impressive camera setups to me. It's just absolutely awesome. So if you're going out and you're at a sporting event or something like that, the zoom cameras on here is just absolutely crazy. 10 times zoom looks amazing, but 30 times zoom looks still really good on this phone. Now obviously the 100 times zoom is not really usable, but still it zooms crazy good. I even took a picture of the moon with this phone and it came out pretty nice. It's just impressive. I think Samsung is doing an excellent job with the cameras on here. I love the image processing, great dynamic range on here, 108 megapixels, tons of detail if you turn that on. Good low light performance, pretty good, decent. Also video, I think is slept on. I think video is pretty good on here as well too. The macro camera is pretty good. I think overall this has one of the best Android camera setups because it does the crazy zoom. So like I said, you're at a sporting event or anything, being able to zoom in and get that good shot is pretty awesome. Portrait shots look good, selfies look good. I really like the cameras on the S22 Ultra. Like I said, they're top tier cameras, and like I said, from what I'm seeing, it's not too much of a difference from the S23 Ultra. So if you do decide to pick this phone up, you're not missing out on really too much. Right, you're still getting very impressive cameras here. Just for spec's sake, you got 10 megapixel periscope telephoto, that's 10x, another 10 megapixel telephoto, 3x, and then you also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, shoots in 8K 24, 40 megapixel selfie, shoots in 4K 60. So it's just a great camera overall. No one will buy this phone and be like, I don't like the cameras aren't good enough. No one. It's excellent camera experience. Lastly, again, the battery experience, I went over that. This does have a 5,000 milliamp battery, 45 watt fast charging, so it does charge up pretty fast. And then you also have wireless and reverse wireless charging. I think it's a fantastic phone. Like I said, it's pretty good at this price, $700, $800, especially if you do some type of trade-in. But do I see the phone coming down in price this year? Yes, but I don't think it's going to come down dramatically, guys. I think it'll stick around that $700 spot for sure. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.